Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wild Moments brought to you by explore.org. And that's not the only gift explore.org has brought to us today. We have Mike in the house. How's it going, Mike?
I'm doing well. How are you? I suppose it's a bit warmer where you are than I am.
Uh, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what's going on behind you. This is all fantastic for me because I see little bits of snow, I see some sunlight, I see beautiful trees.
Yeah, this is outside my house, northern Maine. So mix of spruce and fir, maple trees, birches. So that mixed uh, hardwood forest. I'm sort of in the transition zone between the deciduous trees that you'd find further south in parts of more temperate North America, and then the boreal forest that borders the Arctic. So we get this mix of things here, which is neat. And at the same time, we get a lot of mix of weather too. Like we had probably 20 centimeters of snow on the ground, and almost all of it disappeared yesterday when we had a big storm blow through and the temperatures rose pretty high. It was like 10°C yesterday, and then but now it's back down to freezing. My power's out. I'm plugged into a battery, the internet router, so I'm able to still join you for the show. But I don't think I'll have too much connectivity the rest of the day.
Oh, thank you so much for sacrificing the battery you have to come and be with us. And so, if Mike does appear to be very like playing statue with us for a moment, don't worry about it. Hopefully, we'll get him back, and hopefully, that battery doesn't deplete. Well, and I think that a lot of our viewers are experiencing similar weather to you. I got one from Casper's Dead Ghost that says, "Hello, Trish and Mike, and everyone from a freezing 0 degrees Milwaukee, steaming hot coffee ready for some warm African sights." Well, you came to the right place. And remember that we are live and interactive, and that's how Casper's Dead Ghost managed to get through to us. So please send through a question or a comment as we go through. Drumroll! Our top clips, our best moments for 2024. So if you have something in mind, in fact, I can't even think of what my favorite moment was, but maybe as we're talking and things like that, and as you start to remind me, I will also have a favorite moment. But do send them through if you're new to the Africam community and you managed to jump on just for the last show of the year. Please do send us a hello because this is very, very exciting because you know it's going to be action packed. Before we get into our first clip, let me get through a few hellos. Zygote says, "Hi, Trishala and Mike. Namaste. Namaste to you too, Zygote." Jack De Boer is around. He says, "Good morning." April Owl says, "Good morning from a sunny but cold Connecticut. Blueberry iced tea by your side." That doesn't sound like it's that cold, I must admit. But you're excited to be here, and we are excited to have you. Andy says, "Hello and greetings, everyone. It's official. Santa has left Florida and is making his way back to the North Pole to get ready for the big day. It's official, everyone." Kaoru says, "Hi, Mike and Trishana." Hi, Kaoru. Karu, I must tell you that I've been looking at the Africams a lot more over the last couple days, and I always see you in the chat helping everyone else out with their birds. And I just wanted to say I'm impressed. Well done. Jean Gale says, "Glad to make it today. You're here with your hobby." Hubert says, "Hello, ma'am, from Western Kentucky. Enjoy seeing your videos and seeing the animals. Well, welcome aboard, and I hope that you will join or you will enjoy this particular show because it's just some of our greatest." Hi, everyone. Good morning, and see you good morning, and thanks. Amber Coast is waving hello. Great flat. I want to thank everyone who make this possible behind of the camera. Did you hear that, Kirsten? Shout out to you. And Max and Eggsy, everyone behind the scenes. And you've got some coffee in hand. Very nice. And of course, Mr. HUAE87, always you and your decadence. You have cheesecake and coffee. Nice. Mike, anything warm to accompany you with the accompany the show today?
No, no. I thought about warming up a cup of cider, but that would require more work without power than I'm used to. Because my entire house is electric, so um, when the power's out, you just kind of make do. I do have a water bottle filled with water, so that's that's what's happening.
That'll do. That'll do. Oh yay! Bob from Kalamazoo is here too. Hi, Bob. Thank you for joining us. Shall we jump straight in? We're keeping things fresh at first, and we're going to jump into a clip from this week. And this was Tao this week, where a crocodile. Oh, these crocodiles! They featured prominently this year. But let's go have a look. I think I actually caught the tail end of this watching this camera. Oh my goodness, I didn't even see that crocodile.
Right. The explosiveness of that crocodile's reaction or hunting was just incredible. It's just so quick.
No, what are you doing? You know what's there.
Shashala,
That's
it's so amazing to me that there's something as big as a crocodile can move under the water without disturbing the surface. Do you have any insights on how they're able to do that? Because they are really relying on stealth to get that
yeah.
close to prey or potential prey. So how are they doing that? What have you observed?
I don't know because I also had this thought, and I realized, when they're at the surface, you can see that V that's created by anything along the surface of water, right? Uh, but when they're underwater and they're not even on the bottom, they're just below the water's surface, and they still seem to create no ripple whatsoever. And I don't know how they do it. Also, the osteoderms, those scales reinforced by bits of bone, I would imagine it would create more, not less to. But thankfully, I've never touched a crocodile. But I also wonder if maybe there's a tiny film just from bacteria in the water that grows in them that might assist in that. That's actually an interesting thought, and I'll look into it for next year. But other than that, I can't think of anything that would allow them to move with such stealth. Can you?
No, I mean they're not streamlined. They're
Yeah,
not like a fish, for example, that is many fish are adapted or evolved to move through the water with less resistance to minimize resistance as they're swimming. It depends on the species, of course. Some, depending on their lifestyle, don't care. I mean, in a sense, because they either like are bottom dwellers or something like that. But the fish that are designed to migrate long distances, yeah, they're very streamlined, very powerful swimmers, like think of a tuna, for example.
yeah.
But yeah, a crocodile not built anywhere anything like a tuna or some of these other long distance migrating fish. And of course, crocodiles aren't moving long distances, but even in short distances, I mean, yeah, it would. It just seems like a crocodile would be disturbing the water more than they do. But that's part of their intelligence in a sense. Like they're adapted and they know over, many millions of years it's been ingrained in them how to do that. That's how they make a living.
Exactly. And at this time of year, it's so our this is our rainy season. We've entered into summer, and ordinarily we would already have our really big rains, but they haven't come yet. So this time of the year is, in my opinion, perfect crocodile time because all the animals are getting hot and they're starting to move to all the water holes that they can, but those big rains haven't filled up any of the seasonal pans yet. So they have to come to these muddier, murkier pans, which are just perfect for crocodiles to be lurking. And maybe they don't notice any movement, if there is any, as much as they would if it was clearer, fresher water.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a
I don't
fantastic.
know.
It's something. It's interesting to contemplate. I I wish I knew more. I wish I had more opportunities to observe. But the cameras again give me that opportunity. So from afar, I'm going to be paying much closer attention to the water itself. I think going forward to see if I can pick up any clues that there's something moving there. But if a zebra doesn't see it, I'm not. I don't think I'm going to see it either.
Yeah, but as you're talking, it reminded me of something just when you said, having the opportunity to observe. And I have had that opportunity many times, but I just maybe didn't think of it in terms of being able to conceal their movements. But I would be able to observe a crocodile moving towards a potential target, and then about 5 to 6 meters before it gets there, you see it dip down, what appears
Hmm.
to be them diving down. So maybe that is a helpful technique that they get to the bottom and are able to move much closer and disturbing much less, and then suddenly pop out. But I feel like um, that can be a lot of water to get through quickly. And if you've ever walked through water, it's not easy to move through it quickly. And they're not streamlined like a fish to kind of launch it themselves out, yet they still do. So yeah, it is a really interesting, it's an interesting thought. Good thing to ponder. Jack DeBoer says that was close. That was close. I think when I was watching the cams, I just caught that tail end of the zebras jumping back. But I think that unless the rains come, the big rains that can fill up our dams come soon, we're going to see a lot more of this, a lot more opportunity for crocodiles. And at the same time, maybe a little bit of desperation from crocodiles as the water gets lower and nothing's coming to fill it up and things get muddier. So I think it's a bit of a, I don't know which one came first. Crocodiles being more active at this time because there's more opportunity or because there's more desperation. Not
Hmm.
sure. Please also, everyone, remember to send in some special moments if you remember them. But if not, just enjoy. Shall we move? Oh, sorry. Carry on, Mike. You looked like you wanted to say something.
Well, speaking of special moments, I don't think you have this clip, but just like a couple of weeks ago or something like that, there was a baby hippo following its mother on the Olaf's cam, and it
Yes.
couldn't figure out at first. I don't know if you saw this, but how to get around
Excellent.
the log. Like mom just stepped over the log, and,
Yeah.
and the hippo, the baby was like bumping into it at first. It was like I'm supposed to go this way. Again, it was just sort of like mom is going that way, I'm going this way. But you could see it figuring things out. It's like I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this, and eventually it was able to get across. But it was one of those instances where you see or like a young animal again figuring things out for the first time. So that was a special moment. We've had some special hippo moments on many of the cameras this year, but that was one that happened recently that I could remember.
That was a very I like you think in a similar way as I do is that when I saw that you can see the learning almost and also the way that the mum came back or she didn't come back over but she almost gestured to go to the bottom of the log and come round. Um, and it was a really, really good one. And it doesn't help that I'm a huge fan of Mudang at the moment. So, do you know
Okay.
Mudang?
I do, but I've largely been off of social media, so I haven't been able to see too much Mudang. But yeah, this is it. This was a really
Yeah.
fun moment to see.
And I think I'm so glad you mentioned it because it really was one of my favorites. And I think when you, at the end of the year, we want to grab, try to remember all our favorite ones, and it's so hard. Oh, there she goes. Which way do I go, Mom?
I wonder too if it was just the fact that it was maybe at night, very dark, and the young hippo had a harder time sort of seeing the obstacle. Do you think that is a possibility as well?
Um, I don't think so. I think that, well, they have good vision at night. They move around
Okay,
at night. So I would expect that the baby, I mean, the ease with which mom went across without even, almost without even signaling that there's something there, maybe the baby thought she could just, or he could just go through. Um, but I mean, potentially the eyesight could present a problem as well. But even as she's tracking, like she's looking through to each side of the log, so I think she can see, or he can see.
okay, all right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and certainly the mom, didn't have any trouble navigating the log, so she
Hmm.
saw it. It's likely that the baby did too.
My gosh, I love the folds. I also loved the moment when the baby just sat down.
You say this is, in your opinion, Trish, this would be a fairly young hippo,
Yeah.
not too old.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, I wouldn't be able to put I would say just a few months. Oh, don't slip. Yeah, just a few months, if not a month. It's still fairly young. When it's in color, it's a little bit easier to tell when they're very tiny, just a couple weeks. I mean, it's also really steep. So maybe navigation was extra difficult for those little stubby legs.
Yeah, I think as adults, we sometimes forget that, like
Yeah,
that learning process that we all went through. Something like just walking upstairs. It's just something that we do because we're so practiced at it. But a toddler and a toddler hippo, navigating a steep slope is a different story for them.
exactly. Thank you for reminding us about that one, Mike. That was very, very cute. Oh, Super Moy, you say nice to see Mike Fitz this morning on the Africam show. Unexpected and special. I think the crowd
Oh, good
loves you,
morning.
Mike. All right, on to our next clip for the year. Let's head over to Vic Falls. I'm sure you all know this one. It's also with a crocodile.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. And I've watched this clip before and I still got a huge shock when it happened. Um, Kirst, can
Yeah,
you, can
there's
you just watch that part again? Sorry.
no, go ahead.
I
Yeah,
wanted,
let's watch it one more time.
yeah, I just wanted to notice if we could see it coming. Wow. That is really one of the craziest sightings we've had. And do you
Yeah, I
know
couldn't
about this?
see anything that it
Yeah.
this is the first time that I saw this specific clip. But I know that there's is this the same camera with maybe possibly the same crocodile that seems to have an issue with elephants. There's
Yep,
one.
yep.
Okay.
Same thing. Yeah, I think this was the clearest view that we had where it had actually um like latched on for such a long time. But I think it was one of its last goes at elephants, and I think it might have gotten injured. Oh, here's another one. Same croc, same location. I mean, we think it's the same crocodile, but it's unlikely that all individuals in this particular population at this waterhole decided to attack elephants.
Yeah, you gotta wonder what happened in that crocodile's experience that that
Mm,
that motivates it to behave in this manner. And then at the same time, like from the elephant's perspective, they like the screaming and the yelling that they're doing. I mean, it's almost like they're scared and terrified at the approach of
yeah,
this threatening animal.
and I think it's the ambush nature of the attack as well. Completely unexpected. Um, and an interesting thing, I don't know if we managed to discuss it, but I wanted to say to you was that this crocodile or group of crocodiles, they didn't react this way when buffalo came down to drink. So it seemed to be something that was specifically targeting elephants. And again, I don't know, maybe there was a bad experience
Hmm.
that the crocodile had, but definitely had a bee in its bonnet. And
Yeah,
then stopped doing
that's so fascinating because yeah, I mean, it's like a form of aggression that it's not like it doesn't seem to make sense from a predatory standpoint because the elephants are
exactly.
just too big for the elephant to tackle. But you were saying it stopped doing it recently?
Yeah, I think a little about a month or two after that initial clip we saw, it stopped. We haven't seen it react like that. It's possible that a crocodile moved out of that waterhole, but we haven't seen that in a couple months from that waterhole. But like you say,
Hmm.
it's unusual. We don't see uh, animals holding grudges or expending energy for anything unnecessary. And this seems like a I don't know, like revenge.
It's fascinating in a sense to think about it. There's something triggering with the sight of an elephant for that crocodile, and we know that animals have different personalities. Reptiles are probably capable of much more than we give them credit for, just because they don't have expressions or like a lot of vocalizations that kind of can indicate emotion or stress like we see in mammals. I wish we knew more, but I think that's a fascinating individual crocodile with a fascinating history. If we background, I think we could probably draw a lot more insight into its behavior.
No, absolutely, and it repeatedly. It was really astonishing and something that really made me feel like I want to go there and just observe more for myself and take notes. Kirst just confirmed that we haven't seen it since about July. We haven't seen it behave this way. So this
Hmm.
short
Okay.
period of just a couple months, it started doing this crazy behavior, targeting elephants. Uh, so that was definitely one of the top sightings that we've had in 2024. Now, the next two I actually haven't seen. It must have been when I was not doing wild moments. So I'm excited to see the next two clips. But to start us off, let's head to Naledi Dam and see the biggest eagle in Africa. Thanks, guys. So when Kirst found out that I hadn't seen this one and the next clip, she said, I'm in for a treat. Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
I didn't even see the lizard there. Oh, ground hornbill is just like, yep. Thanks for getting that Nile monitor out of the way. Kirst, we have to see that beginning again. Oh my gosh, it's back. The monitor lizard is walking. Oh no. So martial eagles are the largest eagles that we get in Africa. And they, I mean, just and in terms of reptile prey, the two monitor lizards that we get, the rock monitor and here the Nile monitor, are their most common prey items. But actually 80 to 90% of their diet is mostly small mammals.
Well, this was a yeah, the attack itself, the capture was impressive in its own right. Uh, you got to feel for the lizard. I mean, it's fighting for its life at this point in time, and it's displaying, I think, quite an incredible amount of strength. I mean, the eagle is large. The lizard
Yeah.
isn't giving up. It's just like I'm going to try and try and try and able to carry the lizard or carry the eagle on its back, walking as we saw earlier
Yeah.
in the clip. Yeah, just an incredible display of strength as it struggles.
And these, both the two monitor lizards that we get here, this is the Nile monitor. If you have a close look at them, they look like muscle with claws. They're tanks.
Oh, that is a good way
So,
to describe them. Yeah, I can envision that. Yeah, just like yeah, muscles with claws.
but I think if you look at the talons and look at they're quite bloody. The ends of them, or a couple of them were. And I think it's really trying to puncture the monitor lizard. And then, unfortunately, many birds of prey will go for the eyes, which is easy, fleshy, and will disarm to some extent your prey. But that, I mean, Kirst, could we just quickly have a look at just the capture? Yeah, and the monitor lizard reacted quickly too, just not quick enough.
Right. In real time, we couldn't see that. In the slow
Yeah.
motion though, in yeah, it shows that the lizard is like, oh no. And it's oh if it had noticed maybe a split second sooner, maybe it could
Mhm.
have avoided it. It's just like that's that's just so amazing to think about. Again, that's the matter of life and death for
Yeah.
wildlife and a lot of it's just a matter of a fraction of a second. Like with the zebras and the crocodile we saw our first clip. If the zebras had reacted maybe just a little slower, maybe the crocodile would have had a meal. But they were just fast enough, and the monitor lizard in that instance was just slow enough.
Exactly. And it's just those few seconds. And sometimes I think about how in a day, in a normal day, a couple seconds means nothing. But in those moments, or even if you're running a sprint in the Olympics, those fractions of a second mean so much, but it's the same length of a second. But in these different situations, it can be the difference between winning or losing or life and death.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
everything. So it helps to, I don't know, maybe it'll help me re-envision my perspective on the world. Like when I'm standing waiting for something to heat up in the microwave for 30 seconds, thinking about
yes,
how I can better utilize that time.
exactly. That's your year end of year dose of wisdom from Trish and Mike there, everyone. Re-envision how you can spend that 30 seconds in front of the microwave. It's good advice. We have one more clip. I know that we're out of time, but maybe we can do one more clip before we say goodbye. But before we do that, Kirsty says, absolutely brilliant sighting. And Pi says, the show today is really wild. I know it is. And I really can't wait for this next one. And then Casper's Third Ghost says, Monitor is the Raptors skateboard for a time. Yikes, poor Monitor. Yup. And I must admit, that's also not the first time I've seen them ride them like a skateboard because clearly they're very muscular and very strong. Anyway, last clip, our last wild moment to share together. Let's head right into it. Ooh, this is nice. Firstly, I love this cam. This is all Donio, and we get to see a caracal. Starting off great. I feel like I'm waiting for a jump scare. That's a white-tailed mongoose, everyone. It sauntered in with such confidence as if it knew exactly what it wanted to do.
Yes, that seemed just so deliberate and purposeful. It's like, I know you're here. It seems like you're not paying attention to me. But maybe I'm going
Yeah,
to try to teach you a little bit of a lesson.
exactly. Again, a type of behavior that is not typical. I mean, ordinarily, I think the white-tailed mongoose would move over to the other side and go have a drink, not harass this caracal. Cursed. Could we see just the mongoose biting the caracal, but in slow motion again? Sorry, you've done this to yourself. Oh, oh, was there a little hiss there as well? That's so
I
cool.
think
And a little
so.
shake. That was epic. What do you think of our clips, Mike?
They were they were pretty, and I have to say too, they reminded me about just looking at a different, part of the world, different ecosystems compared to what I'm used to, how precious water is. Not just like in, parts of like southern Africa, but everywhere too. Like where I am, like a moose goes down to a stream or a pond, it doesn't have to worry about like a crocodile popping out of the water and grabbing it. Of course, they face, their own, risks in their daily lives, but water is just so precious for all wildlife. I think it's that seeing these clips just reinforces that idea for me. When you see the risks that animals are willing to take and how animals interact with one another at these limited water sources like you have in your area of the world, it's really reminds me not to take water for granted because I have an abundance of it here. I'm very fortunate to live in a space like that.
Absolutely, and yeah, it's the perfect position for the cameras to be able to capture that. Mindy Tillipau, you say, "Holy crap!" I know that was quite crazy. Grumpy old man, you say, "Gee whiskers!" That's exactly what the caracal said in that little hiss that it gave. And Karu, you're laughing and you say, "Wow." Wow, indeed. And it has been a wonderful year with all of you and these crazy moments. Mike, I wanted to know what was your favorite moment from Explore side, just in general.
Yeah, I could probably list like 10 bear moments. But last on Monday, was it last this Monday or the Monday before? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Brian Bird and I from Explore.org went through some of our top live moments on Explore cams outside of the Africams. And my personal top moment was the eclipse on April 8th that we were able to live stream and I could see from my house at the same time. So, yeah, just an incredible experience. I keep saying this to people anytime it comes up, do not skip an opportunity to see a total solar eclipse. Do not skip it. It is really that everything that people say about them is true. And I was skeptical of it, but that, yeah, if it's 99% totality, that is not the same as totality. It is just different. So please go see a total solar eclipse.
I think that that's a wonderful time, a wonderful way, and a wonderful sighting to end our time together and our year here at Wild Moments and Africam, because uh, everything that we see on the cams, all the animals, all the cuteness, all the funniness, all the tragedy, um, we still all exist in this huge system that's not just about biology. It's also chemistry, it's also physics, it's also the astronomy and what's happening with the climate and the movement of the planets, and it really is, everything affects everything. So I'm glad that you brought up the eclipse, another beautiful moment from nature. And we will be back on the 7th of Jan, everyone. And I think I will see you exactly on the 7th of Jan. So, Mike, I won't see you again until next year. Have a fantastic festive season. And I hope that you take advantage of all moose sightings, all snowfall, and all warm ciders.
Yes, I will. And yeah, you take advantage of the summer solstice coming up for you very soon.
Yes, I will. Definitely. Thanks, everyone, for your questions and your comments for the last year. See you again next time, 7th of January. Bye for now.